joining us today. And if I may ask, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay. That's difficult to start with.
Yes,
Always introductions, but I guess self-introductions is the best to say. So I've been myself as a mixture of being in corporate and also been in the sports world. I'm married with 2 kids who live in New Zealand. I do work at an insurance brokering firm at the moment. I've been involved in giving solutions ensuring that the corporate covers their risk adequately currently. And also I'm ICC Match Referee. At the moment there's not much to get involved in cricket, but I have about 10 assignments a year.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's your basic introduction.
Yep.
Okay. So then what is the thing that makes you most proud of? And then if you say that you're proud of it, and why does it make you proud of it?
Well, I guess many people measure it on the achievements.
Definitely.
And I basically would go down that route as well.
Yeah.
So making proud is representing the country has made me very proud.
Yeah.
When I started my cricket career, I never had goals, to be honest, that I would represent the country.
Yes.
But halfway through, yes, I had that goal in mind, and representing the country that made me proud and kept me motivated right throughout.
Yeah, that's actually definitely great because you're representing your own country.
Yeah.
So then moving on, what do you think? So how would you continue to grow and develop yourself as a leader? Because you're not just in the sports world, you're in a professional career as well. So in the best of both, you are a quite famous leader, I would say. So then how would you say?
Yes, they say leaders are born, but I think many people have challenged that. We've seen many people who had come through the grassroots and developed themselves to become leaders throughout, whatever in their corporates, in their workplace, in sport, in politics, or whatever it be. By leading by example, that's what I believe, and that's what has been my motto right throughout. Leading by example, and many leaders I think has taken that route, and I had followed it through. So leading by example is a challenge because you got to walk the talk, and I did practice that, and that helped me through.
So you're actually doing quite a good job in being a leader for both worlds. Okay. So then talking about leaderships, what is the thing that that will be a dangerous trait if you say as a leader?
Yes. So I think in our current culture, and things have been developed, and is basically when there is identified a leader or potential leader, and then basically your teams or people who work around you try to gang up, basically, and then try to work through the leader and identify him, and then basically work to their benefits. So balancing them out and ensuring that there is basically equality right across the board. And then basically you got to give a good hearing. Listening is very important, but then what you take in and what you action on. So that's the challenge. So you got to listen to everything, but what you action on, and basically what you go and basically implement thereafter, and that's the challenge.
Okay. So listening is a skill, basically.
Listening is a skill.
Okay. And then what is the most important risk that you have taken, and then in your career, in both your professional and in sports, the biggest risk that you have taken?
Yes. So basically I studied in Maristella College, Negombo, and at that time basically there was no cricketers representing Sri Lanka from outstation school, we may call Maristella, which was also classed as outstation school at that time. When I came through the ranks and when I represented Sri Lanka in the under-19s at the age of 16 plus, I had offers from schools in Colombo and saying, look, if you need to develop your cricket and end up playing for Sri Lanka, you got to move to a school in Colombo. But then I thought, no, I've come through the ranks and I've been highlighted and I've been recognized at a school, outstation school. And I think that's going to make, and that's the risk I took, staying back at my alma mater, continuing my cricket for 3 more years. And I think that put me on a pedestal, and that helped me to go all the way and represent. So that's the risk I took of not moving from a school in Negombo to a school in Colombo, which basically based on my cricketing career.
So Ashwin, that's a very good decision that you made so far. And then moving on. So what is the most important trait in your professional career when you're hiring someone new? What is you think key skills that a new employee should have?
Okay. There are many, but you would have. But it's important that they basically know what they want to do.
Yes.
And what they are aiming to and what they can contribute.
Yeah.
I don't believe that they should know the industry, about the industry in and out, but what they want to do and what they can contribute. And of course it boils down to the confidence they have. Yeah. So I think if somebody walks through the door and has that confidence, say, look, yeah, this is the challenge and I could take up to it, and that they deliver with that confidence, you know. So that's what I believe. And the confidence is very, very important.
Okay. So confidence is a key skill as
Yes,
well. Okay. So then, as a person who's been traveling around and then in and out of Sri Lanka, representing Sri Lanka, then about the Sri Lankan youth. Okay. So once we come to talking about Sri Lankan youth, what do you think are the most common misconceptions that they have?
Yeah, they always think the grass is greener on the other end. So that's what I feel. And kids do tend to, travel overseas for study and so on. But what I say is that being consistent on what they're doing, or whether they're in Sri Lanka or they want to go overseas and secure. And there are many opportunities that they could get their education and be completed in Sri Lanka. So what's important is to be consistent on what they are and be patient and look through it. So they try to change. Many kids, I feel today, or the youth, try to change their careers or their the path they choose to. Halfway through they would study and try to switch. So to be consistent and be perseverance on that goal and continue that.
Okay, so consistent and perseverance. I think that you would like to highlight. Okay, so then what is the decision that you would have not taken so far? Okay, let me rephrase. A decision that you wouldn't, that you made, that you think that, if I had not made that decision, how would it turn out?
Yeah, so I work in quite a few corporates, and this particular corporate I worked was very comfortable. I was in a comfort zone, and the challenges were met. And then I thought I should challenge myself more, and I did a switch. Which didn't work well. So I think although in a comfort zone and you want to grow, but not knowing what you get into, so you need to look and see, just because you're in a comfort zone, you've gone up your career, whether you want to achieve more, that whether you would move out of your comfort zone to achieve what. But then again, looking at it, I think if I stayed on there, I would have reached more heights in the corporate than switching.
So then just test the waters before you
Yes.
Okay. So then moving on, and then again, as we highlighted on the fact that you're both on corporates as well as sports, then you must be having a very busy schedule where your time is on demand with being a match referee and then in the corporate. So how do you manage the best of both?
Well, the success has all been on teamwork, and you got to build a team. Yes, you can't do it on your own. So I always have ensured that I have got a team which is basically aware on what should be done or what not should be done, and the goals are being synchronized, and use the strength of the team. So even if I'm many 1,000 miles away, that basically what's needed is being delivered through the team. So that has been my strength, and you can keep motivating the team, keep continuously in touch with them, and basically keeping a good ear to what the customers or the clients' needs are, and ensuring that is delivered through the team.
Okay, so that's a very thing where team spirit and the teamwork is quite important. Okay, so then last, what would you tell the youth? As in not just that, since you represent both areas, what would you like to tell the youth of Sri Lanka?
Yes, the message basically, let me drag myself and get my memory back into my youth and when I started playing cricket. When I started, just before I got into the Sri Lanka side, so we got to work, it was semi-professional at that time. So we got to spend about 4 or 5 hours in office and then go back and train. So you go into training early morning and then shower and get back into office at 9:30 and then go back for training for half 2, 3 o'clock. So this is the challenge we had, and we still had the targets and the deliverables what today's salesman would have in a typical corporate. So we still had the challenges, but we had to balance with our training, and we kept on doing it over and over again, and we did find success at both ends. But the youth today, I think, what they have the challenge is once they decide to play sport, they just keep on playing sport. Don't make that effort and doing the extra hours and getting into enrolling in education and then following it through and ensuring that they do have a balance. You have very, very few who do that, but that they feel that multitasking needs to come in. The same with this education. If somebody is into education and is going to higher studies, they forget all the extracurricular activities, but they need to strike a balance. That's important. I think that's the challenge the youth have today, and I think they got to address it, and that message needs to go to the youth.
So then, at last, the key in a nutshell, what you were highlighting is about the confidence, the team spirit, and then multitasking, right?
Exactly.
So then, thank you very much for joining us.
And pleasure.